Welcome back, my weirdlings. We have stepped into quarter 2 of Raven's Lorecast, the season of thresholds. If quarter 1 was about origins, about where we come from, quarter 2 is about crossing. Crossing out of what no longer fits, crossing toward what is becoming, crossing the quiet line between survival and alignment. You don't have to be perfect to cross. You only have to be willing. So wherever you're listening from, I'm glad you're here. Because this quarter, we are not chasing perfection. We are practicing becoming. All right, weird ones. Wit, wisdom, witchcraft. Let's begin. Weird ones, come in. Close the door behind you. Not because anything is chasing you, but because the world has been loud lately. And this circle is intentional. Take a breath with me. In and out. Good. If you've got a candle nearby, go ahead and light it. If you don't, imagine one. Magic has never cared about props. It cares about presence. Tonight's episode is called Celestial Ritual. The Stars Remember the Way. And I want you to hear that title the way it's meant. Not as poetry, as a promise. Because there are seasons in life where you can't find your footing, where your mind feels fogged, where your heart feels overfull, where your body is carrying a winter that didn't end when the calendar said it should. And in those seasons, people will try to hand you answers. They'll try to sell you certainty. They'll try to give you a neat little narrative. They'll try to convince you that being lost means you're failing. But the old truth, the one the ancestors knew in their bones, is this. Being lost is not failure. It's a threshold. And thresholds don't ask for perfection. They ask for presence. So tonight, we're going to do what humans have always done when we needed to return to ourselves. We're going to look up. Because the sky is one of the oldest maps we've ever had. Before paper maps, before compasses, long before GPS, there were the stars. And those stars weren't just navigation. They were memory. They were pattern. They were proof that the world returns. And if the world returns, so can you. So if you're listening tonight and you feel tired, scattered, heavy, raw, or uncertain, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about the sky as ritual, the sky as wayfinding, the sky as a mirror that doesn't judge you. And we're going to build something simple and real, a path back to yourself. Take one more breath with me. In and out. Good. Let's go into the lore. Weirdlings, let's talk about the oldest ritual humanity ever practiced. Not the kind you buy in a box. Not the kind that requires you to own the right tools. Not the kind that only counts if you do it perfectly. The oldest ritual we ever practiced was this. we looked up and we realized the sky wasn't random. It moved in patterns. It returned. It repeated. It kept time. And in that realization, something ancient woke up in us. If the sky returns, then so can I. This is the heart of this episode because the stars remember the way isn't just a pretty sentence. It's a human survival truth. It's what people knew long before anyone built a temple, long before anyone wrote a scripture, long before anyone decided that they could own access to the sacred. Before there were maps on paper, there were maps in the heavens. And those maps didn't just guide bodies across land, they guided souls through seasons. Here's something we forget in the modern world. Where we carry GPS in our pockets and still manage to feel completely lost, for most of human history, the sky wasn't background, it was infrastructure. The heavens were calendar, compass, clock, story archive, navigation tool, ritual mirror, and sometimes the only consistent thing in a chaotic life. People learned the sky the way you learn the face of someone you love, not academically, intimately. You knew what rose when. You knew what it meant when something shifted. You knew where you were in the year by the angle of the light and the position of the stars. And when you were traveling across desert, across ocean, across mountain passes, the sky wasn't aesthetic. It was life or death. But even more than that, the sky became the first place humans stored meaning. Because when the world was brutal and unpredictable, the heavens offered something rare: pattern. And pattern is where humans build faith. Not faith as doctrine, faith as continuity. There's a reason navigation and spirituality have always been tangled together. Because when you're moving through the unknown, when you're walking a road you've never walked before, you are vulnerable. You are exposed. You are at the mercy of weather, hunger, fatigue, predators, politics, fate. And in that state, you don't just want directions, you want reassurance. You want to know there's a thread you can hold on to. So humans did what humans do best. We made ritual out of the thing that kept us alive. And that's what wayfinding really is. Not just finding north. Wayfinding is finding yourself inside the world again. It's the moment you stop spinning, the moment you stop panicking, the moment you say, okay, I'm here. The sky is there, the road is possible. The stars didn't just tell people where they were going, they reminded people they were not alone in the dark. And here's where it gets even deeper, weird ones. The sky didn't just help people travel across geography, it helped them travel across time. Because the heavens are a memory system. Think about it. The sky holds repeating cycles, waxing and waning, rising and setting, seasonal return, predictable patterns with subtle variation. And that means the sky becomes a memory palace for the human mind, a place where stories can be stored and retrieved, a place where the past can be remembered without needing books, a place where the future can be anticipated without needing certainty. When people said, as above, so below, they weren't being poetic. They were describing how humans survive. We look up to understand what's happening down here. We track the heavens to track ourselves. And when we feel lost, we return to what repeats. This is the part I want to say clearly because modern spirituality sometimes gets loud. Ritual is not a performance for the universe. Ritual is not a way to prove you're real or advanced or gifted. Ritual is a technology of the nervous system. It's a way to tell your body, we are safe enough to be present. We are safe enough to feel. We are safe enough to choose. Ritual is how we come back into alignment with ourselves. It's how we clear the static. It's how we return to the road. And the sky, this vast, repeating, ancient clock overhead, has always been one of humanity's greatest ritual anchors. Because the sky doesn't argue with you. It doesn't demand you be perfect. It doesn't punish you for being human. It simply says, here is where you are. Here is what is happening. Here is what is coming. That's why people trust it. And because we're in early April now, we're sitting in a very specific kind of seasonal threshold. Spring isn't just new beginnings. Spring is the season where what survived winter proves it. Spring is the moment the world says, you're still here. Now what? It's a return, a re-entry, a thaw, not just of the ground, but of the self. And that's why this episode matters. Because some of you are emerging from a winter that wasn't just cold. It was heavy. It was long. It was emotionally expensive. Some of you made it through by dissociating, by numbing, by shrinking, by getting practical and robotic and just doing what needed to be done, which is valid, which is survival. But spring asks something different. Spring asks, do you want to come back to yourself now? And if the answer is, I don't know how, good, because that's where the stars come in. There was a ritual my Nana taught me when I was young. She called it the soul's spring cleaning. And it wasn't fancy. It wasn't aesthetic. It wasn't something you'd post online with perfect lighting and a curated altar. It was the kind of ritual that works because it's honest. She'd set a timer, 10 minutes, and then she'd tell me, write. Not write something good, not write something coherent, just write. Stream of consciousness, words, fragments, doodles, anger, fear, grief, hope, confusion. Anything my mind tried to carry quietly through the winter, anything that stuck in my ribs, anything that kept looping when I tried to sleep, it all had to come out through the hand. And Nana used to say something like, "You're not creating art, baby cakes. You're exercising weather." And when the timer went off, we didn't analyze it. We didn't judge it. We didn't turn it into a personality test. We gathered the pages, took them outside, and let them go. We'd set them on fire and watch the ash blow away. Because the point wasn't to preserve the pain. The point was to release the pressure, to clean the emotional residue out of the field around the body, to let spring in. And I think about that ritual now, and I realize Nana wasn't just teaching me how to cope. She was teaching me wayfinding. Because when your mind is full of winter static, you can't hear your own compass. You can't see the road. But when you clear it, when you let the noise out, you create space for the next true thing to arrive. And that, my weird ones, is exactly what this episode is about. Not perfection, not certainty, orientation. So when I say the stars remember the way, I mean it literally and spiritually at the same time. Literally, the sky holds patterns that humans have used to navigate for thousands of years. Spiritually, the sky holds reminders that cycles return, that light comes back, that what disappears is not always gone, that you can be lost and still be held by something older than your fear. And the reason this matters is because so many of us treat being lost like it's a personal failure. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, you must be doing life wrong. But the truth is, every becoming includes a wilderness. Every transformation includes a moment where the old map stops working. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've outgrown what used to guide you. And when that happens, you don't need shame. You need a new anchor. You need a sky. So here's the lore spine I want you to carry forward into the rest of this episode. The sky has always been humanity's oldest ritual mirror because it offers pattern in chaos. And when you feel lost emotionally, spiritually, existentially, you don't need a grand revelation. You need one bright point you can trust. One direction, one small act of return, a ritual that says, I am here, I am still here, and I am allowed to find my way back. That's the work. That's the magic. That's the remembering. And now, we're going to look up and let the actual sky of April 5th, 2026 speak for itself. Because tonight, weird ones, Mercury rises at dawn like a compass point, and the moon moves through Scorpio like a truth you can't avoid forever. So let's go to the stars. Right ones, welcome to the sky. Not the sky as a horoscope meme, not the sky as a performance, not the sky as something you believe in or don't. The sky as it has always been, a map, a mirror, a ritual clock, a living reminder that even when you feel lost, there is still a way. Tonight's celestial weather is quiet, powerful, and deeply symbolic because it's not screaming for your attention. It's offering you a path back to yourself. So let's take a look. On April 5th, 2026, the moon is in her waning gibbous phase, bright, heavy with light, and beginning the slow work of release. This is not the fresh start moon. This is not the wish upon it moon. This is the moon that says, now integrate what you learned. And she's doing it in Scorpio, which means we're not integrating surface level lessons tonight. Scorpio doesn't do cute. Scorpio is the part of you that remembers what you survived, the part of you that still flinches at certain words, the part of you that knows exactly where you learned to go quiet. The moon in Scorpio is a lantern in deep water. It doesn't erase what hurts. It doesn't pretend it didn't happen. It simply asks, what truth are you finally ready to hold without punishment? And that is ritual work, real ritual work. Now, here's a detail I love because it's subtle and it's honest. The moon is moving toward Antares, the bright red star known as the heart of the scorpion. And on April 7th, the moon will actually pass in front of it, an occultation, hiding it from view for a time, not forever, just long enough to remind us of something sacred. Even the heart of the truth can disappear behind the veil without being erased. So if you're in a season where you can't access your joy, your clarity, your faith, your fire, that doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's behind the moon. It means it's temporarily obscured. And you, my weird one, you are allowed to trust that it will return. Now let's talk about the most important sky event of the night, Mercury. On April 4th, Mercury reached greatest western elongation, meaning it hit its farthest apparent distance from the sun in the morning sky. And on April 5th, that gives us one of the best chances all year to see it. Mercury is usually elusive, hard to catch, easy to miss. But not this morning. This morning, Mercury rises into visibility like it's saying, the road is still here. And if you want to spot it, look low in the eastern sky about 45 minutes before sunrise. You'll see a bright little point of light, yellowish, steady, unapologetic. That's Mercury, the messenger, the guide, the one who moves between worlds. And for this episode, for this topic, Mercury is everything. Because the star remembers the way isn't just poetic, it's practical. The sky has been used for navigation since humans first looked up and realized, if I can find that star again, I can find my way home. So tonight's ritual is simple. You don't need incense. You don't need a grimoire. You don't need to know the names of every constellation. You need one thing, a direction. Mercury gives you that. Mercury says, begin at dawn. If March felt like a celestial crowd scene, planets clustered, the sky busy, everything happening at once, April begins to spread the stage out again. That multi planet parade energy is dispersing. And honestly, good. Because when the spectacle ends, the truth gets louder. Venus remains a bright, prominent presence in the evening sky, now in Taurus, grounded and steady. This is not love as drama. This is love as devotion, love as consistency, love as choosing the same thing again and again because it is real. And Jupiter remains one of the brightest evening lights, a beacon high in the sky, easy to spot with the naked eye, not because it's demanding worship, because it's doing what it has always done, holding the line. Sometimes the sky doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes you just need one bright thing you can trust. So if we translate tonight's sky into ritual language, here's what we get. Mercury at dawn, the path becomes visible. Scorpio moon, the path requires honesty. And Taurus approaching occultation. The heart of the truth may vanish briefly, but it isn't gone. Venus steady. Return to the body. Return to what is real. The parade dispersing. Less noise, more clarity. Which means this is a night for a very specific kind of magic. Not manifestation, not performance, orientation. This is a night for asking, where did I lose my way? Where did I stop trusting myself? What part of my story did I abandon just to survive? What truth have I been circling for months because I was afraid to name it? And then, gently, deliberately, choosing one step back toward the road. Because the sky isn't here to fix you. It's here to remind you, you already know how to return. If you want to work with tonight's sky in a way that's practical and grounded, try this. Step 1, the Scorpio question. Before bed, ask yourself, what truth am I ready to hold without punishment? Don't answer it with your brain. Answer it with your body. Whatever tightens, whatever aches, whatever goes quiet, that's the door. Step 2, the Mercury step. In the morning, if you can, step outside before sunrise, even for 1 minute. Face east and say, show me the next right step. Not the whole map, not the 5-year plan, not the perfect version, the next right step. And if you see Mercury, beautiful. If you don't, it still counts. Because ritual isn't about visibility, it's about intention. So that's your celestial weather, weird ones. A bright moon in Scorpio, doing the sacred work of integration. A heart star waiting just ahead. A messenger planet shining at dawn like a compass point. And a sky that feels less like chaos and more like direction. The stars remember the way. And if you've forgotten it, they will help you find it again. All right, weird ones. Welcome to the part of the ritual where we stop talking about alignment and we eat it. Because after the sky work, after Mercury at dawn, after the Scorpio moon, after that deep, honest kind of remembering, your body doesn't need indulgence. It needs orientation. It needs something bright enough to wake you up, grounding enough to hold you steady, and real enough to remind your nervous system we're safe, we're here, we're returning. So this week, we're not cooking a full meal. We're summoning a constellation you can eat. We're making the celestial alignment salad. Not a trend, not a diet, not a clean eating moment. This is witchcraft with a cutting board, a ritual bowl designed to harmonize the body with the shifting sky and to help you remember the way back to yourself. Let's build it. Let's talk about why these ingredients work, because every one of them is a planet in disguise. One of the greatest secrets my Nana ever taught me is this: a witch doesn't cook, a witch composes. And if you look closely, every ingredient in this bowl is a cosmic force wearing food as a costume. Let me show you. Roasted corn, the Aries sun, heat, ignition, becoming. Corn is solar by nature, golden, sweet, radiant. But roasting it, that brings the fire. That brings the spark. When you add roasted corn to a bowl, you're adding sunlight you can chew. Garlic sauteed mushrooms, Scorpio depth, transformation, underworld, truth. Mushrooms grow in shadows. They digest death. They turn decay into nourishment. Add garlic, and you've created protective underworld medicine, perfect for a night when the moon is asking for honesty instead of performance. Kidney beans and chickpeas, grounded motion, courage, and stability. Kidney beans are shaped like tiny hearts, circulation, courage, vitality. Chickpeas are steady, nourishing, stabilizing. Together, they anchor you in the body while giving you enough energy to follow whatever truth the sky is whispering. Red onion, Mercury clarity, piercing fog. Red onion cuts through the haze. It's sharp. It's honest. It might sting a little, but it wakes the whole system up. That's Mercury energy in food form. Not cruel, clear. Baby spinach and arugula. Return to breath and return to depth. Spinach is the nutrient dense cradle. Arugula is peppery, electric, directional. Together, they create a kind of wake up field in the bowl. The feeling of air entering the lungs again after a long season of holding your breath. Avocado, the moon, softness, nourishment, nervous system balm. Avocado is lunar medicine, creamy, calming, balancing. A reminder that softness is not weakness. Softness is a spell. Black grapes, the stars, dark sweetness, cosmic contrast. Dark, star-like, juicy. Slice them open and you get that strange little miracle, the cosmos hidden inside something ordinary. which is the whole point of ritual, isn't it? The sacred inside the simple. The dressing is aligned alchemy. Olive oil plus pomegranate vinegar plus salt plus pepper plus red pepper flakes. Olive oil, longevity, wisdom, steadiness. Pomegranate vinegar, descent and return. Obviously, a Persephone thread. Salt is the earth. Pepper is the air. Red pepper flakes, fire. When you whisk them together, you get a dressing that tastes like truth with warmth, clarity with softness, a path that remembers you. Here's the step-by-step ritual and recipe. First, roast your sun, the corn. Toss kernels or whole ears with oil and salt. Roast until golden, blistered, fragrant. As they roast, whisper, ignite what must rise. Second, saute your underworld, the mushroom and garlic. Medium heat, olive oil or butter, garlic first, then mushrooms. Let them release their water, then take on color. Stir clockwise and say, transform what clings. Third, prepare your planetary chorus, the beans, greens, bright things. Add kidney beans for courage, chickpeas for grounding, spinach and arugula for return to breath, thin sliced red onion for clarity, avocado for softness, halved black grapes for cosmic contrast. Fourth, make your dressing. Whisk together olive oil, pomegranate vinegar, pinch of salt, cracked pepper, red pepper flakes. Let it shimmer. You'll know it's right when it smells like the moment before a thunderstorm. Whisper, align me with the path that remembers me. Fifth, assemble the constellation. Mix gently. Turn the bowl in your hands like you're rotating a small galaxy. Plate it with intentional geometry. There is no wrong way to do this, only honest ways. This salad is a release ritual. A waning gibbous moon is the moon of integration, truth-telling, and feedback. So when you take your first bite, say aloud, I nourish what aligns. I release what resists. I remember the way. Eat slowly. Let the flavors teach you something. They will. This salad gets even better the next day, just like understanding, just like alignment, just like memory. Use leftovers for a wrap with warmed pita, a cosmic tostada, or tossed with warm quinoa for grounding. Everything evolves, even salad, especially you. Bright ones, take a breath with me. In and out. Good. Now let's close this circle the way it deserves to be closed. Not with noise, not with performance, not with pressure, but with orientation. Tonight was a celestial ritual, not because we did something complicated, but because we did something ancient. We remembered that the sky is a map, and more than that, the sky is a promise that cycles return, that light comes back, that what disappears is not always gone, that even when you feel turned around inside your own life, there is still a way. There is still a direction. There is still a next step. And I want you to hold this gently because it matters. Being lost is not a moral failure. It is not proof you're broken. It is not proof you've done something wrong. It is not proof you're unworthy of guidance. Sometimes being lost is simply the moment the old map stops working. Sometimes it's the threshold between who you were and who you're becoming. And if that threshold feels tender, if it feels foggy, if it feels like standing in the doorway of a life you can't fully see yet, then listen to me, weird one. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are in motion. The sky reminded us tonight that the path exists even when it's hard to see. Mercury rising at dawn like a compass point. The Scorpio moon asking for truth, not perfection. A heart star waiting just ahead, not as a threat, as a beacon. So here is your closing spell. Simple, quiet, and real. Say it with me. I release what I carried through the winter. I make space for what is returning. I trust the next right step. And the final line, the one that turns this from a thought into a path. Even if I forget, the stars remember the way. Take one more breath. In and out. Good. May you be guided. May you be grounded. May you be honest. May you be held. And may you find your way back to yourself with gentleness and with power. If tonight stirred something in you, if a story caught, if a ritual settled into your bones, if a truth followed you into the quiet, that's the work. Quarter 2 is about thresholds, and thresholds aren't destinations, they're decisions. If you'd like to keep walking with me between episodes, you can find Raven's Lorecast on Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, Pinterest, and TikTok. You can find me on Instagram at ravens_lore_cast. These are where the conversation continues, the visuals unfold, and the circle stays open. If you're called to go even deeper, the Patreon door is there when you're ready. No pressure, no chasing. Just another threshold you can step through when it feels true. Until next time, wit, wisdom, witchcraft. See you at the doorway, my weirdlings.